Hello, welcome to another Kickstarter stress test, where we look at Kickstarter campaigns, stressing them out till they break. Well, no, we actually try to pretend we are the ideal target audience for this campaign, and seeing if it works for us, if it really draws us in, gets us excited, and doesn't confuse us or block us or push us away. Like, very, very simple. I'm saying simple, but obviously it's not simple. There's a reason I'm doing this. I try to do this every week, once or twice. It's because sometimes I find that campaigns need to tweak very, very little, and suddenly it unlocks their flow and it works. And maybe that's a problem here, maybe it isn't. So we might learn from the success, or we might learn something from something that could be fixed. Well, that was a lot of rambling. I'd never want to go over 20 minutes, so let's see if we can even narrow that down. Today we're looking at Rogue Angels. Okay, this game is by Emil Larson. Yes, so I know Emil, we chatted a few times. Let's look at this campaign again. This is a relaunch, okay? Doesn't say this anywhere. So let's not pretend. I don't know anything about this. Only thing I see is Rogue Angels. Rogue Angels, a cooperative 1-4 sci-fi adventure crawler with multiple paths, player-driven solutions, evolving characters, and intertwined stories. Now this is a very good subtitles because it's clear. It gives me exactly what type of game this is, but I think the only thing it's missing is a tiny bit of theme. And I know it's hard. You're trying to put so much into that one subtitle, but right now, although this is clear, there are some surprises here which I'll point out, but overall it feels like another dungeon crawler. This time it's sci-fi. We usually see fantasy, so that might be interesting, but there are such games. So I might be curious because I just love dungeon crawlers. But there are a few surprises here, okay? The multiple paths one, okay? We've seen that before, but not too many times, okay? So that's interesting. Player-driven solutions was the one that caught my eye. Even you can hear my inflection in the way I was reading it. What does that mean? Okay, I'm curious to know, what are these solutions? What are the problems that need solving? Evolving characters is another way of saying leveling up, but it's interesting. It's different. What does that mean? Is like my personality going to change and evolving? So I'm also curious about that. And intertwined stories, which is another one, which is making me ask some questions. It's clear, but I want to know how that happens. So I feel like he manages to overcome the need to write some sort of theme or some sort of engaging thematic intro, like lead your troops or something like that, by hinting at all these interesting mechanics. So let's look at the trailer, and it might be a little bit longer if I recall. So let's just start watching. I see 1-4 players, age 16 and up, 60 to 120 minutes. Let's go.
We're at war. No one wants to admit it, but the assembly has failed. You're here because we need a team.
Okay, this is something that's annoying about Kickstarter, okay? The bar in the end is obstructing our view, okay? And this is something I've learned to do with my videos, is just put everything a little bit higher, because you see, I paused, I wanted to read this, now I can't. So here, if we do full screen, we can see it, but now my video is blocking it, but I can tell it says co-op strategy, co-op sci-fi legacy adventure for 1-4 players. Let's move on.
Team with extraordinary capabilities. This team must be
Between
capable
16
of
asymmetrical
infiltration.
characters with play styles. Okay, so now he's doing an interesting thing. There are the titles and there is the voiceover, and they're conflicting, okay? It's giving us different infos, okay? Different points of info. He's talking about the theme, and we're getting these titles. Now you need to strike a balance here. You need to make sure that the title is short enough that we could read it and listen at the same time, or to manage to time it in a way where it doesn't contradict each other. Now we're going to get to this amazing animations.
We're in. Extraction.
Target secured.
This was good now. This was good timing.
Assassination.
Where did she go?
Oh.
Target eliminated.
Escape and evasion.
This will keep them busy, setting off the EMP.
You see, Commander, your team must succeed where diplomacy
1,000
has
pages.
failed.
That is
We must
impressive.
unite the races of the galaxy by...
And this is something we can learn from numbers. You know, making things measurable is always important. Try to find the number, which is very, you know, exciting and would make people do a double take with your campaign. You know, how many characters, how many missions, how many components. Just give that number which excites people and, you know, lights them up, makes them lean forward. So 1,000 pages, that's crazy. Sometimes, you know, less is more, you know, it depends about your game, but find that number which gets people excited, and make sure to write it as a number, not as a word. That's easier for us to read.
any means necessary. But
80
let's get one
missions.
thing straight. This isn't about being heroes.
What do we do with the civilians, Commander?
Ooh.
They cannot be trusted. Eliminate them.
You do not exist. You...
So this is giving me the answer of the player-driven solutions. This is going to be like Mass Effect moral dilemmas, and obviously we're referencing Mass Effect here in that, you know, choosing which thing to go with the circle thingy. That's great. You know, I know the type of experience I'm going to go for, and I think this is really smart rather than diving into like tons of mechanics and everything. We saw a little bit with a split screen, but you know, you can choose if you want to actually look at the right side or the left side, or not get into it too much. This is very well done.
You operate outside any jurisdiction.
You have no right to decide their fate. We have to help them.
That is not our mission, human.
I'm your commander. Stand down.
You'll have no back.
That is cool. It shows us the dynamic between the players. This is the players actually talking, and each one is voting for which decision they want to do. Fantastic. I not only understand this, I can imagine this now with my players, with my group. I can imagine each one bickering, no, we should kill them, no, we should save them, no, we should... And eventually, you know, we're going to be making a choice. But that actually creates that, you know, moral dilemmas in a dungeon crawler. And I haven't seen that done too many times. So now I'm excited.
Back up and no allies.
It's a trap.
Behavior
Fall
driven
back!
enemies.
I'm hit.
There, that should stop the bleeding. Now let's move.
Are you ready to sacrifice everything for the greater good of the galaxy?
Yeah. There's too many of them. We're not all gonna make it.
We're not leaving without you, Commander.
There's no time for debate. Get out of here, soldier. That's an order.
Okay, now it's really getting into like the evolving characters and the intertwined stories part of it. It's like that the characters within the game seem to have this, you know, you can sort of get the relationships going, and you know, decisions actually matter in the narrative, and that would affect how your players interact. That's also really cool, because this turns the let's call it dice chucking numbness of some dungeon crawlers into actually engaged storytelling, which is more reminiscent in D&D and RPGs, but we still have excellent gameplay. Okay, so it's promising a lot.
In that case, Commander, your legacy
love that.
awaits.
I just got to point out that animation of the head turning around. That really, the first time I saw that, I was like, "Oh, it moves."
Like I said, Commander, I'm not leaving your side.
Neither am I.
Nor I.
That was a surprise. Okay. So overall, like I said, excellent video, excellent visuals, drama, pacing. For a Kickstarter trailer, I think there's a way to make this a little bit shorter. Okay, I'm very curious to hear about the completion rate of your video. Let's talk about completion rates. Are they really important? Well, not really if enough people back. Some people will watch the video and decide, okay, I've seen enough, I'm in, okay? And then they'll back the project. Some people will just, watch a few seconds, realize it's not for them, and then click away. So out of the gate, that piece of data is a little fickly. But what I have seen is that most successful campaigns usually have a 42% and above completion rate. Shorter videos have a larger completion rate. I've seen up to 70% completion rate on 1 minute videos. Okay, so the shorter you get it, the benefit that you get is that people get to see the whole experience, and they might see that selling point which tips them over the edge. And those minis in the end were a complete surprise how many people get to see it from the video level. I imagine if I scroll down a bit, I'll see those minis, but there might be that person watching this video and is like, I wish it was minis and not standees. I would have loved to back this if only it was minis. Okay, and it doesn't even scroll down. Okay, you see, let's scroll down, see how long it takes for us to figure out if there's miniatures there. Okay, that's a long way to go. So just a point to think about. Okay, the shorter you can get it, the more likelihood that someone will go through the whole experience and the video would work for them and get them to that excitement level at the end. So just food for thought. Okay, going down. Theme, the year is 1001 ATA. Okay, we're 13 minutes. I want to really breeze through the rest because I feel like we touch a lot of very interesting points, and it's doing very successfully this time. Okay, this is the first day and it's near funding. It's going to fund in 24 hours. I'm super happy for them. Last time, okay, just to be transparent, they had a very high funding goal. Okay, the what's called realistic funding goal, the funding goal you actually need to even start printing this game. And it is a big dilemma. Do you have a huge bloated funding goal, and you're just being honest about it? Or do you try to play the system a bit and you try to squeeze that in? Like a lot of my answers, I think my recommendation is somewhere in between. Especially for your first campaign, you should be setting a goal that doesn't make you lose money if you hit it and not $1 more. Lose, okay, is the important word. Do not try to give yourself a bloated goal that will cover your expenses, cover everything you put into the game, before the pre-launch process itself, and that will also yield a profit. Okay, because that one, while it's the right goal to sort of maintain your business and move forwards, that will have a very hard time for the Kickstarter page itself, Kickstarter campaign itself. It's working against the algorithm. It's working against what people perceived when they go on. They see, 150,000 goals. Oh, it only made 44,000. It's not even the third. I probably won't back it because I won't make it. See, it's it's a matter of perception. So what I recommend is finding the goal that you can print the game with, okay? That you can manufacture the game, and see if you can build all the other income that you need from, all the money that went into marketing, that went into creating the video, that goes into influencers and things like that. Try to find other ways, maybe, post-campaign with a pledge manager. Don't forget you have that, or other forms of income to cover that. Okay, so you want to try to get it as low as you can, but still being able to print the game. Another way to measure this is, get the quote. Suppose games cost $10 to make, just hypothetically. Hopefully it's less than that for your first game. So $10 to make. You suppose you sell it for the base pledge for 49, or let's say 50. Okay, times 5 is usually healthy. Again, this is just speculation to see it. You want to make a minimum of 1,000 print run. Okay, that means 1,000 print run is going to cost you $10,000. Okay, $10,000 should be roughly around your funding goal for the print run that you want to do. And now you take that 10,000 and you divide it by the amount of backers that by the base pledge level. Sorry. Okay, so sorry if that was a little confusing. So going with that logic, $10,000 funding goal divided by 50, the base pledge, and we're taking like worst case scenarios. I imagine you're gonna have like maybe a deluxe pledge, but suppose everybody just backs at the base pledge. That means you need 200 backers to back on the base pledge on day one. Okay, if you have 200 people that back you on day one, you fund on day one, and that's your goal, to fund in 24 hours. That bounces you to the front of the page. That gets people excited when they get onto your campaign page. It's funded, it's going to happen, let's unlock stretch goals. So to get those 200 people, the safest way to de-risk that is to multiply that by 10 to 1,000 and have that as the amount of followers, but not just any followers, hot leads. Okay, people that know a little about the game, that are following the Facebook page or Discord or wherever your community is, that are opening the emails, that are reading, engaging. Okay, the closer you get to that number, 2,000 people which are engaged with your content, the higher the chance is that you'll fund quickly. Okay, you fund in 24 hours, maybe even less, and from there you're propelling it upwards. And that's when you start closing all those other expenses. Okay? My goal is always to tell clients to de-risk their Kickstarter. Find the safest way to hit launch without stress, with less risk, and knowing that you're covered your bases and not just, let's click and see what happens. So that is what I usually recommend. And I'm thinking of doing like a mini app or something like that, so people can just plug that in. Plug in those numbers and just get to that safe number of backers that they need to hit. And then it's something measurable that you can actually strive towards, and not just, get as much as you can. Ask clients, what's your funding goal? They say, oh, it's this amount. Oh, what's your actual funding goal? Oh, as high as possible. That's a goal that's hard to reach. Okay, so I got like 1 more minute to look at the campaign. Look, overall, this campaign looks great. I think if I love, dungeon crawlers, I love sci-fi, I love Mass Effect. I think, even having the word Mass Effect somewhere, maybe in the quotes or something like that, but it's very clearly resonating with this. The romance, that's fantastic. Yeah. And the pricing, you gotta print and play. That's amazing. I can actually experience some of this as a print and play. That's fantastic. A lot of reviews here, a lot of previews. There's a lot of stuff to make me feel safe that I'm backing it, that I'm backing someone that did the research, play tested this well, and it knows what he's getting into. And then we have the base pledge, which is $116. Yep, that's what I would have expected. I'm just curious, how do the minis fit into this? And so this is a thing that I would suggest is somehow, just making it very easy to understand. How do the miniatures fit in? Do they come in with the game? That's what's in the box? That you always get the minis no matter what? Fantastic. Then that's definitely worth it. But I would put that like huge somewhere. Get minis in this game. Even though we saw standees all over the place, you do get miniatures. So those people that just love miniatures, they get what they want. Okay, so that's it. We were a little bit over 20 minutes, but I think we had a really cool discussion, and I'm really curious to hear your take. How do you calculate your funding goal? How do you make sure it's like just right? It's like finding that Goldilocks effect, just right. Okay, so that's all for today. Bye bye.